Hey, welcome back. We're going to look at some photo retouching tools, some additional ones that might be helpful for the kind of work you want to do. We're going to go back and open the 048 start image from the retouching folder, weekly downloads. And we're going to look at a different way of patching this up. And I don't use the word patching by accident. There is a tool over here that allows us to do that kind of patchwork. For example, we'll choose the patch tool over here, and the way this works is you make a selection around an area that's giving you trouble, like here for example. Very rough selection, doesn't have to be precise, and you can add to it if you miss a piece. Hold down the shift key to add, just like any other selection. And now that you have the selection, what you can do is move your mouse into the selected area and drag that selection to an area adjacent to it, which would be clear and replace the existing pixels with whatever you're moving your selection to. Like I can move it down here and grab texture, but as you can see, it's not a really good fit. It's an obvious edit. Here might be a little better, but the closer you can get to the adjacent pixels, the better sometimes. As you can see over here, if you end up duplicating the texture too much, you might end up with a giveaway. But now if I let go here, what happens is Photoshop will calculate the integration and replace the existing pixels with the area I selected. Now, the problem is this area gets duplicated and the pixels are duplicated exactly, and it kind of breaks the illusion. So if I click Control H, or if I go to select hide selection, Control H will hide the selection on your keyboard, and you can see it a bit more clearly. You can see that it's not perfect. You can still see that there's something going on here. So you can try that again. You can just click in the selection, even though it's hidden. You can still select it and maybe pick up some pixels from another part of the image, and it'll do its best to try to integrate it into that area. Now you have some parameters up here. I'm going to undo that. So you can choose different parameters here. Now this is a fairly new feature in Photoshop called Content Aware. And instead of just duplicating the pixels, it will calculate the surrounding pixels that you want to replace and try to do its best to blend them in. So I'm going to choose Content Aware. I'm going to leave these as is, and now I'm going to move the patch. Try this again, see how it works. See, it still makes that copy of the pixels we don't want. So I'm going to undo and drag it a bit closer down here. See what happens. Control H to hide the selection. And that's actually pretty convincing. Like if I didn't know there was something going on there, I might say, yep, that's good enough for me. And then I can go in and press Control H again to show your selection. And now you can deselect to let go of the selected area. And maybe select this area up here and do the same. Just kind of move it there, and when you let go, there it is, gone. Here, let's give it a shot. Let's see if we select this area. There you go, and maybe give it a bit of extra buffer so it has room to blend in. Alright, a bit more there. And now if you drag that selection towards the right and let go, with the Content Aware selection, it figures out how to connect those pixels and make that transition seamless. So the patch tool is designed for that kind of work. Sometimes it works quickly, sometimes it doesn't. It depends what you want to do. Let's go back to the original state I'll show you some additional tools that are available under here. There's the healing brush tool and the content aware move tool. The red eye tool obviously is for fixing red eyes, which aren't in this photo. But let's look at some of the other ones. We have the spot healing brush tool, which will fix specific areas. Then there's the healing brush tool. So in this case, if we use the healing brush tool, it works a lot like the clone tool. You can hold down the Alt key to set your source, and then you just kind of paint over the area that you want to fix and integrate. And it kind of does its own thing. It calculates the pixels in the surrounding area and tries to blend in. So I'm going to zoom in so you can see a bit more closely what's going on. So let's say this is my source, and I brush. Now when I let go, look what happens to the pixels. They kind of try to blend in. I think I'm going to try making this a bit more smooth by lowering the hardness. And it's like painting. You just paint over the areas you want fixed, and it'll do its best to fix those up. So it's a lot like the clone tool, but it integrates a bit more nicely. Like if I want to remove this person, you have to be a bit more careful because it's trying to blend in, and that's why you get these gradients. For that, I would probably use the clone tool, which is a bit more predictable. You don't get those blends. It's not trying to do any calculations there. Along with that, we have the, where was it? The content aware move tool. Zoom out a bit. Now this one works a bit like the opposite of the patch tool. You would select an area that already exists, and you would move that to an area that needs a bit of help. And it does its best to apply that. So I need a bigger selection here because obviously that wasn't big enough. Get a big chunk over here. That's it. So now if I move this to that area and press enter, it'll try to look at the pixels in the surrounding area and blend it in. So you could use parts of the existing image, like over here for example, and use some of the settings up there. If I do this, that's not going to work. You have to select an existing area and drag it in like a patch. And once you're done, here I'll zoom in. Once you place it where you want, you press enter, and it'll do some calculations around the edges and try to blend those in so that it looks seamless. And those are some of the other tools you can try. For the spot brush tool, we'll use a different image because it's for more for things like this type of correction, right? So these are like little spots. You don't have to do long brush strokes. So if you choose the spot healing brush tool, ooh, that's a bit large. We'll make it a bit smaller. You can use this to change the size. Maybe make the edges a bit softer. There we go. So again, you choose your texture or color from the image. And this one you don't even have to use a source actually. You can just click on the area that's a blemish, for example, like this. Just click and it'll do some quick math and try to patch it up for you. Like this one here. There you go. You can just drag a little quickly there. Bingo. So now if we zoom out, we barely notice the problems. We'll do that over here as well, just to demonstrate. So you can just drag your brush, paint it in, and boom. It looks at surrounding pixels and just automatically corrects them. There you go. Gone. And gone. So there's a lot of cool tools in Photoshop for this type of work. It's just a question of knowing which ones to choose. And this one's pretty good. Give it a try, let me know. See you in the next video.